Cloud. Everyone should get the prompt. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first Contributor Summit planning meeting since like 2019. Holy crap. Actually, no, we did have the EU ones in 2020, we didn't actually get the end result of that. But as a general FYI for folks, I think everyone's used to this, but this is a recorded meeting. We abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which essentially boils down to please be excellent to each other. And as this is the first meeting, it's not going to follow our standard schedule stuff with like leads chiming in. But we will go over stuff as we get through there. And if you haven't yet, please drop your name in the notes. I also realized that the notes were not part of the calendar email. They will be, or the calendar event. They will be after this meeting when I go edit the meeting. So in that doc, you can see we have some upcoming deadline that's like today technically, and that's the registration framework. But we'll go over that in a few. Let's kick it off and do intros since this is a new team. I'll start. Hi folks, I'm Bob, co-chair of SIG Contributor Experience, steering committee member, and lead for this summit. And we'll play the hot potato game. I'll just toss someone out and then go ahead and call the next person after that. And I will toss it to Jeff, who is my co-lead on all this.
Hello. Of course he's going to toss it to me. My name's Jeffrey Sika. I am all over the place in the Kubernetes community, former SIG UI chair, former lead of EU during the COVIDing. So I'm here to help out and make sure that we all have a really good time. I will kick it off to Chris Short. He's the first one I saw when I looked up.
Okay, well, there you go. Hey, everybody, I'm Chris Short. I too, like Jeff, am all over the Kubernetes community, but right now I'm spending most of my time on the upstream marketing team, and I have helped with previous contributor conference or gatherings, so I would like to help again. I will hand it over to Allison.
Hey, yo, everyone. I'm Allison. I'm a co-chair of SIG Contributor Experience. Previously on the EU summit that, the EU summit that didn't happen, I was going to be leading the contributor workshop. And now for this contributor summit, I'm still trying to find out what I'm going to do. So yeah, I hope to find that out during this meeting. So I'm going to toss the ball over to Laura.
Which Laura?
Ooh.
Yeah, there's two of us.
Oh,
What do we
that's
do?
true. I need
alphabetical order.
LL or LS?
Well, we'll do LL.
Thanks. I'm LL. Also Laura Lorenz. I am a member of SIG Multi-Cluster. I'm actually new to Kubernetes as of last year from like a contributing perspective. I've never been to a KubeCon or a contributor summit except via YouTube. So excited to be a part of it and help out. I will popcorn it to the superior Laura S.
I don't know that I'd say superior, but you know. So hi, everybody. My name is Laura Santa Maria. I am with SIG ContribEx, and I help run the community meeting. So that's probably where you've seen me. And I'm very excited to be here. I actually haven't officially attended a contributor summit, but I kept showing up to them. So we'll see how this all is. And I am going to toss it over to Dawn.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dawn Foster. I haven't been doing much in Kubernetes for quite a while. I've actually been spending more of my time in the CNCF contributor strategy tag and the governance working group. But in the past, I was involved in several contributor summits. So I worked on things like the SIG meet and greet, SIG face-to-faces, content, a few other things. And I will pass it over to Eddie.
I'm Eddie Zaneski. I'm one of the co-chairs of SIG COI, and I am very excited to be helping plan the Contributor Summit because it's one of my favorite things that I've missed so much. So I will pass it over to Kendall.
Hello, I am Kendall. I am involved a little bit in SIG contributor experience. Primarily, I have spent a lot of my open source time over in OpenStack, so I like to try to bring our learnings over to the Kubernetes world. I have been to 2 contributor summits, I believe, and they've been loads of fun, so I was interested in seeing how they're put together and if there's anything I can do to help. We'll pass it to Mars.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mars. I help co-organize meetups in Dallas area. I've been to a couple of contributor summits as well, and I would like to help with organizing one as well, hopefully in LA. Yay! And I'd like to pass it over to Paris.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paris. I sit on the Kubernetes steering committee. I have planned this fun thing 3 times, and it's been super awesome. And I love that I see all of you here from repeat events and also new folks like Mars. Super stoked to work with everybody. And hopefully I'll be helping us throw a rad contributor celebration. So I'm super pumped.
Paris, you get to pick who goes next.
I know I'm looking, I'm like on my cell. So I'm jiggling my finger. All right, so let's see. Josh Burkus. Oh, actually I hear Josh. So naturally Josh's keys. Josh goes next.
Oh, okay. Noise canceling isn't working well enough. Okay. Howdy, I'm Josh Burkus. ContribEx, SIG release, various other things. I was content manager for a previous summit, as well as in charge of the new contributor workshop for a vastly previous summit. I don't remember exactly which ones. And I'm going to pass this. Arnaud, have you spoken yet?
Nope.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Arno. I'm the co-chair of KTF Working Group. I'm also a British Manager Associate. In the past, I've been involved in the ContribEx Summit for San Diego. I'm kind of happy to be here. It's good to see everyone. I will pass the potato to...
You're also our reg lead.
Yeah. Awesome. I think Deb. Yeah, I'll pass the potato to Deb.
Hi, I'm Deb. I work for the Linux Foundation /CNCF, and I am your designated event manager. So I'm just here to help and support, make Contributor Summit happen. So if you need anything, have any questions, if there's anything I can do to make the event better, just let me know. Awesome. Is that everyone?
I think so.
Awesome.
So one sort of quick FYI before we start diving into this, and this is just with the pandemic and everything, this event is not going to be exactly like our summits of the past. One of the big things is we will not be doing a new contributor workshop. This is just because there's just too much uncertainty with all this, and there's been some other things with the new contributor workshop in the past. We are planning for this to be a full hybrid event. So that way people will be able to attend both in person and remotely. Hopefully, lots of people in person. But we are expecting a lot of say our international contributors will not be able to attend. And they will be engaging sort of virtually. How that plans out is still a little bit TBD, and I will go over to Deb for more information on all that. But I just wanted to give a little sort of a quick TLDR and sort of the general shape of this event. With that, actually, Deb, do you want to kick it off? You got the a whole slew of stuff in here.
I got all the things. So I just wanted to take, since it's the first meeting, take the opportunity and kind of just walk through all the different areas where they stand currently, since I know we talked about a few things in ContribEx meetings previously, make sure that was clear for everyone here as well, and then talk about like next steps and all those things. So please interrupt me as I go through this if you have any questions though, because that is important. First point, venue walkthrough video is now available. I've linked it in the agenda doc. It's also linked on GitHub and the GitHub issue for this. Basically, for those that haven't done this with us before, I walk through the venue and I show you where everything's going to happen so you can kind of see it before you get on site. I will note that in the video, I talk about where registration will be, and that has since the site visit changed. It will now be the one floor above where Contributor Summit is actually happening. So just take that out of your mind as you're listening to the video. I did add a floor plan that you can see to kind of show where registration will be outside the Contributor Summit rooms. And I did want to note on the floor plan, this is a shared floor. So we have the whole, I guess when you look at the floor plan, right side of the ballroom space, there will be another event, O3D Econ, that will be on the second half of the floor plan. Oh, thank you, Bob. And this floor plan is from the venue, but it's very poorly done. So these escalators will actually not be right next to Diamond 6. It's a little bit farther down the hall. So when you get off, you can either go down that hallway by Diamond 6 or go straight. It does not instantly put you past Diamond 6. And you'll see that in the venue walkthrough video. So
could you, sorry, I missed, what's the event that's right next door?
It's O3D Econ. It has nothing to do with KubeCon.
Okay.
Oh. It is a non-KubeCon event.
What's the venue's plan on controlling the traffic?
So one of the girls on my team is also managing that event. So we'll be dividing it. It's not actually an external event. So I have all the insight on everything that's happening. We'll be dividing food and beverage, directing people. But since you are all on the right-hand side, all of your attendees will stay on that side, and then all of their attendees will stay on the other side, except when going to and from the escalators.
The O3D is the gaming foundation, right?
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the new one that was just added. It was announced 2 weeks ago. So.
Okay.
So I might have misheard this, Deb. Did you say the registration is going to be above or at the same level?
So in the video, I show it on the floor below. So when you're watching the video, just know it's on the floor above, but we are on the same floor as registration now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? These are great questions.
Let's see. Will we be, so Diamond 5 is the big space.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I was thinking of something and then just like answered my own question.
All right, so you have Diamond 5, which is your general session, and then 6 through 10, which is your unconference rooms.
Okay.
And what's the capacity on those?
They're all about the same size. They we're going for about 75% in each of these rooms. And if I get there, the Diamond Ballroom will be set up, or sorry, Diamond Ballroom 5 will be set up in rounds for about 300. And then Diamond 6 through 10 can average around 50 people per.
Yeah. This is in the U shape, correct?
Correct.
Okay. There is I don't think it's linked in the doc, but we can edit later. There's a spreadsheet that has a breakdown of the rooms and things like that there. The other thing is, okay. Well, we have all the rooms for Monday. We do have some of the rooms still correct for Tuesday.
Correct. You have ballroom 9 and 10 on Tuesday still.
This would be for if any say SIGs wanted to do like half-day like workshops or like the old SIG storage architecture get-togethers. So that will be a follow-up item for us to ping the SIG leads if they want to have one on, not on like the normal contributor summit day, but on a follow-up day. Let's see.
We should have a ContribEx one. That's a side note. I'm gonna go mute.
We can definitely do that. Okay. Any other sort of questions, comments right now on the layout at this point in time? Okay. Do you want to kick it over to the AV requirements?
Yeah, so we kind of talked about the room layouts already. The plan is to have the main session room be in rounds so that folks can kind of hang out in that space and have social distancing opportunities in there when it's not being used for the general session. The other rooms are currently planned to be in fishbowl or U-shape with some tables if needed based on what our hybrid plan is. I also mentioned we are planning to build the rooms, to do the layouts at 75% capacity to encourage social distancing. We just want folks to feel comfortable coming to the event. AV requirements. So I want us to have a conversation about this, but I want to make sure I understand first. Are mic, screen, projector, those kind of standard items required for unconference rooms to start with?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would say for the screen, it can, if there are multiple options, they can be relatively low key. As in a standing easel screen, they don't necessarily need to be a full wall screen.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's really for people sharing slides and agendas and wiki stuff to discuss, rather than people making a formal presentation in most cases.
Okay.
At least previously when we've done unstructured stuff. Somebody can disagree with me if they do. One question that I have about AV is going to be sort of unrelated to presenting, which is if we're doing this at lower capacity and encouraging people to spread out, and we're trying to have some kind of pickup for online participants, then presumably that's going to determine the AV rather than any other requirements. Or that's going to determine the audio rather than any other requirements.
AK, will there be live streaming capabilities?
Yeah.
So that's the next item to discuss, is what does a hybrid look like for unconferences? I know on a previous call, I think it was Laura S., correct me if I'm wrong, had talked about how at previous hybrid unconferences she'd been to, folks would bring their laptops in and everyone would show their video and audio through their own laptop. And then there'd be one master one that kind of shared the screen so that you picked up, you still had people's faces and you could tell who was saying what. And it happened so that everyone virtually could speak in two. Another option is to have a camera that shows everyone in the room and picks up the audio for everyone in the room, although we will have to look at our options for making sure you can hear everyone clearly in the room and you don't get background noise. We'll work with the AV team on that. So then it would be one feed that pipes in, and then you would have another feed, into the virtual Zoom or whatever, and then Zoom would pipe back out into the room too. This means that anyone that attended virtually would be individual on the screen, but anyone that attended in person would be lumped together in one image and one audio.
I think that's fairly reasonable.
Yeah.
In terms of like options available.
I mean, I'm also going to say, if we're encouraging people to spread out in the room anyway, we want a cordless mic in all the rooms, even if there was no online component, because otherwise people who have softer voices won't really be able to participate.
Yeah.
And if we're going to have a cordless mic anyway, then we can plug it into whatever we're streaming with.
Laura brings up a good question. Is it possible to have two screens? So essentially you could have the, people are remote on one and then any sort of like presentation or whatever on the other.
Yes, if we go for that option and that people aren't individually on laptops, then yeah, we'll definitely bring in a second screen. It may not be as large as the presentation screen since the quality is a little bit more important, but it would be there.
Part of the reason too, like I really don't necessarily want to have like everyone on Zoom on their laptops because that will quickly overload the wireless.
Yeah, to do it that way, you really do have to have really good wireless capabilities. But generally, and I still have all the playbooks if people want to see how we did it before at another conference I used to run. We had it all where everyone was on the Zoom, and the requirement was just make sure you bring a laptop, a set of headphones, and are willing to mute the entire time unless you're speaking, so that it kept crosstalk to a minimum. It worked really well, but again, we also had corporate internet that we were running off of, so we didn't really have the concern that we typically have with hotel internets.
We ran a main mic. Sorry, Laura, I PM'd you by accident instead of hit everyone. We ran a main mic at the other on-conferences when we were doing the recordings so that the recording could pick up the mic. So I feel like we could do the same thing if we did the camera and like main laptop kind of thing.
That's essentially what I was thinking. A good boundary mic might be useful too.
So it would be really cool if we could have an awesome group of volunteers handle the conferences a little bit more hands-on than we usually do.
You need like a virtual liaisons to be present in the room to help facilitate everything.
Yep, exactly. And like really make dang sure that people are going to use the mic, so then it's not like worthless and then just like pisses people off that are virtual, because I feel like that would be kind of like the net negative there, where it's like we're trying to be inclusive, but then like really it just kind of sucks. Oh, yeah.
Out of curiosity, have they given you any sort of SLA with the type of bandwidth they'll be providing?
I do not have that, no, but I can ask CubeCon team.
Well, let's hope it's better than San Diego.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say.
Yeah. If it's like San Diego again, then we're having an in-person conference and apologizing to every like virtual attendee.
Yeah. I mean, we honestly have to, that has to be something that we're prepared to do, simply because as all of us who have booked events ourselves know, no matter what the hotel promises you, you cannot count on it.
Right. And
they'll refund that part of your contract and you're otherwise out of luck.
Yeah, and we need to test live streaming before, right? Like it might just be a dead stick from the get-go.
It would be good to go in the night before and actually test it out. And that way, if it's not going to happen,
then
we're not discovering that in real time.
I want to point
like
out that
us and 100 of our friends gonna go test it the night before.
Well, I mean, it just needs to be like, can we even get a live stream out? Yes or no, right? Like sometimes that's no answer is going to be very quick.
You get one stream going in each room as a test. And Jeff, you were saying something?
The only way we're going to be able to test is the day of, because you're only thinking about our bandwidth and not the bandwidth of the 30 other conferences that are going to be in the same venue. It's going to be a moot test.
Yeah.
True.
It still might be worthwhile, because if it fails the night before, then we know 100% it's going to fail the day of.
Yeah, I'm okay testing it twice, to be honest with you.
Yeah. For those that are planning to be there in person, I am going to be flying in Saturday. I know a bunch of other people are going to be flying in Saturday, so there will be people present for like all day Sunday. Laura, can we have a fallback of a separate remote summit and share learnings between the two? I think the problem will be like the people that will be managing it will like, we wouldn't have enough people for that. But we can do that still for the contributor celebration in December, which is the virtual focused event. The other thing is like any, say, uncomforts items or things like that that people toss out, if there's a lot of people that do want to do it, then we could potentially reuse it or do another talk or use it as an item at the contributor celebration in December. Let's see. I think that mostly covers the AV stuff at this point. Does anyone have any more thoughts or concerns? Okay, let's pop over to registration.
All right, so for registration, we are shooting to have registration open on August 2nd because the KubeCon schedule is released August 4th. So we want to make sure we get it out there before folks start planning too much of their travel plans. Which means that the registration framework doc needs to be completed by today. How is that looking?
Both Arnaud and I went through it. I think Cody gave it a quick look over, but if anyone else can, the sooner the better at this point. The big change is, again, like there's no new contributor workshops, so we have fewer flows. And to attend in person, you must be a GitHub org member or sponsored attendee. Again, this is just for our own sanity in planning and running this event.
Okay, if folks want to take a look at that today, I will send it to our registration team to start building out first thing tomorrow morning. And then next week, the reg form will be available for testing. So I'll share that out early next week. And there will be a week for us to go make any edits, that kind of a thing. And then it'll go live, which is crazy because that means it's August in 2 weeks. But here we are. Okay. For registration, we'll be printing directly on the KubeCon badges again. So for those of you that were there in 2019, I believe, for going back, yeah. On your KubeCon badge directly printed Kubernetes Contributor Summit if you were registered for the event, and that's how folks knew that you could get into the Kubernetes Contributor Summit areas and activities. Since this event is taking place on Monday, and then the celebration is taking place Monday evening, did we still want to have a registration station at the celebration? Or did we want to require that people pick up their badge prior to arrival? Previously, we've had a registration station there because it's happened the day before Contributor Summit has actually taken place. So folks would pick up their badge at the celebration, and then the next day show up for the actual event. But since we're kind of swapping that order this year, did we feel it was necessary to have that on site?
No, I think it's perfectly reasonable that they have to pick up their badge ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it'll encourage people to actually show up during the day if they're planning on going to the party.
Yep.
At least 30 minutes before we close, anyway.
Okay, awesome. Any other registration questions currently?
Let's see. No, none from me at this point.
I have a question. How do we take care of the people fully vaccinated, or how do we check someone is fully vaccinated?
So you actually won't be a part of that. That'll all be taken care of by the Linux Foundation's registration team. And we'll provide additional information around that to attendees in the coming weeks.
You're partnering with a third-party vendor to handle that, correct?
Correct.
Do you know can you share the vendor name yet?
I'm not allowed to share it publicly
Okay.
yet, but it is in the works. And it follows all HIPAA rules, all the things like that. So we actually never see any of that medical information. We will just get a green, yes, they're good to go when it's approved.
Okay. As someone that used to work in the health informatics field and all other fun stuff, like, and pathology, just something on the back of my mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, it's all being handled by a third party. So we see none of that except the green light. So moving on to attendee comms then, I've linked the attendee comms doc. Whoever's in charge of attendee comms, feel free to update it however you need. Typically the first email we would send out is by the CNCF team to those that had indicated they wanted to know when registration was available, but since we do not have a save the date website this year, we don't need to do that one. So the reg open email should be sent by the K-8s team, and I just wanted to note that.
Yeah, I figured we can probably send something out either this week pointing to the current placeholder for anyone that, I'm dropping the links in Slack, but you can go to KatesDev/summit or KCS NA 2021, and either of those links will take you to the current summit page. We are not using the LF for any of the website. It is going to be part of the contributor website.
Perfect. I don't think anyone's been assigned to comms yet, correct?
Correct. Ideally, this would be a partnership with the marketing team. Chris, I don't know if this is something you want to necessarily like take point on, but
ooh, maybe.
I hate to put you on the spot, but like,
I mean, I guess put my name down until otherwise posted.
Okay. For the most part, it's essentially helping draft emails and tweets.
Yeah, like that's up my alley, so I'm good with that.
And all the templates are already in that comms doc, so that makes it an easy start.
Beautiful. I'll grab that.
Okay, and then moving on to content, the schedule is created. If you need admin access, let me know. And then the PowerPoint template is also available, and it's also linked in GitHub. I have no other content updates at the moment. Any question?
I have one content update. And I know that the content team technically hasn't been assembled yet, even though while we are primarily doing unconference type stuff, we still want to have some like non-unconference content. Like some people, like I know there are people that have already talked about, presenting something there. Specifically for the reg form, I quickly whipped up a CFP submission form based off the one we had in 2019. I think Josh, you built that one.
Yeah, probably.
But we can adjust that however we want before reg goes out. But there's a link there, and we can, work that into our comms.
Okay. Wait, so who's leading content? So Laura?
We technically don't have a content lead yet. That is still TBD.
Oh.
Would that also fall under marketing?
No, content is separate because it's like managing the like the CFP and unconference sessions and things like
Got
that.
it. Okay, cool. I'll wrangle up some more folks.
Yeah, that was
because my question there was when we discussed this earlier, and maybe I missed a meeting in between, we'd kind of talked about making it strictly unconference-ish. That is, not having any sort of selected sessions, but doing an unconference thing either probably a few days before, like we've done that in the past, because with one day, well, that would be a decision for the content team, right? Are we going to do traditional unconference where people literally select it the morning of? Or are we going to do the sort of extended unconference where people propose and select things with voting in the 3 or 4 days before the conference?
I would definitely lean towards the voting 3 or 4 days before the conference, just that way we can have a good representation from our virtual attendees as well.
Yeah.
The one thing, like, we still probably want to have at least a little bit of structured content, especially for the larger big space. If we want to have like that'll be the room. If we want to have like a workshop, we could.
Well, wait, is it with the layout, is it possible to use the big space simultaneously with using the small spaces?
Yes.
You know, with them being directly attached to each other, I kind of had the impression it was an either or situation.
No, from the looks of it, there are air walls between all of them.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but the question is, can you go in and out of the small spaces without walking through the big space?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
From the video that I saw, each of the individual rooms have a back of house door.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually just a main hallway that you can go in. That would be the main entrance. And the doors leading to the general session room, I would recommend we keep closed because you're going to have a front of room, and that's typically what would fall on that wall.
Okay.
Either way, I think like it'd still be worthwhile to at least have at least a little bit of seeded content ahead of time, or like if people just want to prepare ideas and propose those as unconference thing. We'll get it sorted out. Or sorry, I think it'd still be worthwhile to at least have a little bit of prepared content. There we go.
Yeah, well, and if we want to have workshop-ish stuff, that definitely has to be arranged in advance because somebody has to prepare. And so that would be a question, I guess, of things like, you know, how to review workshop again.
Yep. There's a few things like the test, the flicky test ones have always gone over well.
Yeah. And if we're not having the NCW, which we're not, that gets less confusing and a lot more straightforward.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing is like we also have a couple weeks if we want to just like pull it out or turn the form into like some your unconference idea now type thing. And does anyone have any other sort of content notes or things to discuss at this point?
Eddie, I saw your question about the password protected. It is right now because there's nothing in there. So this allows you to add things, change things, move things, do all the things without anyone knowing. And then when it's ready for public viewing, we can update that.
Got it. That's what I figured. Thank you.
For what's worth too, we can fully embed it on the contributor site. We can have sketched embedded right in there. And I think that takes us over to celebration.
Yes. All right. Celebration, the last item. I looked at a few venues last week. We're still working on pricing and details, so more info to come. There is a bowling alley across the street that would be super fun. It's walking distance. It's got lots of space. We've got games, including bowling, pool, cornhole, lots of seating. And the good thing is they have an in-house sanitation team that stays for the duration of our event.
Nice.
So there may be a crossover with the contributor summit or the KubeCon reception, which would be one of many options, but they're working on things right now, so that's not finalized. There's also a place called Tom's Watch, which is in the same area. It would have a partial patio and then an inside area that's like literally 360 monitors all over. It's kind of a little bit crazy. But it would allow us to do things like Jackbox games and have like different like areas around. They also have Giant Connect 4, Giant Jenga, and Golden Tee, and then we can bring some additional games in. So working on pricing and stuff like that, and then we can talk about that further. And that is all of my updates.
I see Jeff nodding no at the Jackbox games, but I don't know. Those are always really fun.
We can make our own Quiplash. In the latest version of Quiplash, you can actually create your own. Yeah, that's going to be dangerous.
For those of you that don't know, like Jackbox games just like lets a bunch of people like play with their phone and add answers and things like that too. It's a lot of fun. Okay. So that gets us through celebration at this point. The next big thing is just sort of assembling the teams themselves. I think that will sort of firm up this week in terms of leads for the different groups. If you are potentially interested in like leading a thing, please feel free to reach out to me and we can talk about it. But yeah, at this point, I think just the next follow-up item is Reg and getting all that sorted out. Does anyone else think of anything? Jeff, you're my second here. Is there anything else that I'm missing?
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. Realistically, besides Reg and venue stuff, I think we're kind of on autopilot until we get some CFP. Hello, Gertie. Yeah. Get CFP stuff in from the Reg form and just making sure that we're ready to follow up on everything.
Cool.
Actually, one thing I did just think of, making sure that comms are lined up before the Reg form opens, because we're going to want to blast that a lot.
Yeah. The other thing is at the top of the doc, I put the current like deadlines where things like must be completed by. We'll probably want to expand it out with some of the other like, you know, comms messages and all that in there, but those are the big ones that are musts.
Sorry, Luna's going crazy right next to me. I'm like distracted.
It's all good. Gertie's hangry, as many people saw his tail, like trying to get attention.
So the if August 2nd is when we're blasting out registration, by then we also want to know the sort of framework for content. Like even if we won't have any content yet, we want to know what the content is going to be structured like.
Yeah.
Which means we need to pick the rest of the content team as soon as possible.
Yes. And we have at least a tiny bit of time to sort of sort that out. And I think we have a pretty decent general idea going into it. But yeah, that is the other like next big AI. Also, thanks, Laura, for linking the unconference playbook. Okay, are there any other sort of last minute follow-up items or things people want to talk about? Okay. Well, thanks for dropping by. Very happy to, you know, see the team get together again, and looking forward to actually being able to see everyone in person, like hopefully.
Everybody.
Yep. Later.
Bye, everyone.